Welcome to Fact or Freestyle.
People love Dave Nourie, and they always answer the phone when he calls. When we get him on Zoom, we ask him to confirm rumors.
Let's see how far down the rabbit hole we go.
Hey.
Hi, Joe.
Hello, Joe.
Dave, Joe.
So
I have my wife's glasses on, guys.
Joe meet Joe and Joe meet Joe.
Yeah, Joe. I don't think we've ever met. You're from Ohio?
Yeah.
Nice. And you were around in the 80s?
I was actually, you were a counselor at
Woodward?
Woodward. Yeah, you taught me how to 50-50 roll in.
Get out of here. On that on the small quarter with the sandpaper paint job?
Yeah. It was the year before they had the Stonehenge ramp there.
You know, because they all seem to think that the sand, they're gonna love this sandpaper, this sand we're putting in the paint, and how much traction you get. They're gonna love it, these kids.
Yeah, it's dope.
Very cool.
So Joe, thank you for carving out a little time, and we are thrilled. And I think you kind of know what we're gonna do, but so Sickman and I were talking. This was right after COVID hit. We're just like missing the contest and missing the events.
Yeah.
And we're like, we should just call people and just like have these fun conversations and like talk about stuff that we've heard and tell stories and reminisce and just all the stuff that we love about when we go to any event, whether it's a comp or an old school event or any of the things where we're just being able to sit around. And Joe likes to call it like the big boy table, right? Where it's like the conversations that you'll have with some of the people that you've known for so long. And now this is a format that's actually available for people to watch and chime in and hear these stories and these confirmations of these stories or not. And that's kind of how it started. And I think I called you at one point because I had Wilkerson on, but we're much farther along now, Joe. And
so when this was coming up and you said, I look back at the text you sent me last night, and you said little homework, think of some crazy stories. And I'm like, what is this podcast about? So I looked it up, and the first one was Bill Nitschke, his interview, which was awesome. He was driving, and that was cool. I didn't listen to the whole thing, but a bunch of it. And then the other one was, I think, episode 3, where you were talking. Who are you talking to about Jose Inez and one of his buddies that.
It was James McGraw.
Oh, okay, yeah, James McGraw, yeah, and then the question about the how I did my first tail whip, and I had ants in my pants, and he's like, no, that's crazy. And then Joe, you're like, I don't know, is it crazy? Yeah, I don't know. You tell me. I mean, you never know. I mean, he could have, you flip it around on this, you've got this thing biting at you. You never know what's gonna happen. And it was good. It was, and then you kept playing his reaction replayed over and over again. What?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I got the concept for the podcast. It's great. Yeah, it's a great idea.
I actually did have ants in my pants when I was a kid, so I can relate.
That does exist. Yeah, it does.
Yeah,
happen, right?
It was a thing. It was only once, but it was very twitchy, and I just dropped my pants in the front yard. I must have been like 7 or 8. So I know that it's a thing.
Okay, so Joe, let's go around because there will be some new people to this show that we post that may not know us. So we'd like to just do a quick, and you can talk about whatever.
So yeah, I'm Joe Johnson, and I rode. I don't ride as much as I used to, that's for sure. But I rode mainly in the 80s. That's when I was sponsored, traveling around, competing in the 80s, and I gave it up in like 91, went to college thinking I had to get a real job, and I was washed up. I felt like at 21, 22. And it's crazy that, how late guys ride, and they're just incredibly competitive. Even, it's just nuts. It's nuts how I remember Brian Scurra. There's a long kind of introduction to who I am, but
no, that's
Brian
good.
Scurra,
don't worry.
Yeah,
that's good.
But Brian Scurra went like in the 87, 88, 89, that time frame, and Scurra was you know, he was doing shows and he was just mainly, that's all he did is shows, I believe. But he was 27 at the time. And I'm like, holy shit, he's still riding at 27? That's nuts. And I just remember thinking that was so old and he's still riding these bikes. But anyway, I was wrong there. And but I still have a couple of bikes. I have a Haro that I got, one of the lineages that I got from John, and I have a little pump track in the backyard, like off in the woods there. And so any chance I get, I'm riding that. And but yeah, not and watching as much as I can of you know, on Instagram and anywhere else for these cool the dirt jumps that are out there now, and just like all over the place, and skate parks. And I mean, there's so much footage now that, you know, you could sit there all day long and still not get enough watching all this cool shit that's out there. But man, anyway, yeah, so I went to school, I went to school for engineering, and some mechanical engineer work at a company.
Okay, Sickman, did you have anything else to chime in on that one, or do you want to move to the next one?
No, we can go to the next one. But I got to tell you, this is going to be so funny that people are going to watch this and they're going to call me Sickman, and I'm going to say Sisman, and they're going to say, but Dave Nourie said that you're Sickman, and I'll be like, freestyle shit right there, son.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, Facta Freestyle. Joe Johnson had ants in his pants when he invented the vert tail whip.
Joe, Sickman, do you have a little clip that you can share with Johnson?
Yeah. So, Joe, we we understand that you have denied the ants in the pants, and
okay,
and that's the first of 5 stages of grief. And so what we want to do is help you get through the denial. We want to be here through the anger and the bargaining, and we want you to have a safe space for depression so that you can get to acceptance.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
And so we have a series of clips, one of which I think you've seen, but 2 you haven't. Maybe this, you could call this an intervention, but we would like to show you a clip, which I'll share now, and you should be able to hear it. And so these are the people who have reacted, and we just kind of want to watch you react to them and be here for you.
Facta Freestyle. Joe Johnson had ants in his pants when he invented the vert tail whip.
This is Montana Ricky, sales rep for Madero.
So here's the story with Joe Johnson. The first tail whip that Joe actually pulled was because he had ants in his pants.
So good.
So the ants like bit him or like made him flinch, and it was just enough to help him kick the bike all the way around and pull the first one.
In the moment, I'll have a conversation. So like this ants in the pants one, I've
Yeah.
heard, but I didn't like, I haven't asked.
People,
So I guess.
people have heard this story. Jesus, that is this. Okay,
So
yeah, James, we're going.
again, it's a tail whip, but Joe Johnson invented the first tail whip, right?
In the air, yes.
In the air. So somebody said that it was because, and Joe wouldn't admit this, he had ants in his pants.
Joe,
And that they bit him, and that's what
Twisted him around or something.
he got the hook.
Oh, come on. That's ridiculous.
Whoa.
No, what? That's insanely ridiculous. You don't put it in the spin cycle because you got a freaking ant in your pants.
Yeah?
Yeah, but he's been working on it. It wasn't like he wasn't trying it.
No, I don't think he intentionally put ants in his pants.
No, he didn't.
Joe.
Right, he didn't.
I love that he's going along with it. Like, you know, this, you need to.
Where was it that he pulled the first one? Was it Camellia Ramp or where?
Matt.
Joe Johnson had
great.
ants in his pants when he invented the tail whip.
I would say, is that like a vert tail whip?
Like it twitched, he just twitched enough because the ants like bit him.
I think like on the first one, or at least, yeah, I think so. He did.
You think so? So you think it's right?
Yeah.
We do have a confirmed fact here. And Matt, you said you had some firsthand experience with this?
I believe he did the first tow up in my warehouse on my ramp. With me, Dennis McCory came down. He came down to was staying with Dennis, and then they drove down to the Ninja ramp, the secret Ninja ramp, and then I was like, man, I want to really see progression today. So I just went, and we have these really big like red ants in Oklahoma, and I just got
that part's true.
all of them, and I just threw them in Joe's pants. He didn't know what was going on, and next thing you know, his bike started flipping around. I was just like, no way! And tail whip, bam.
That's exactly how it happened.
Definitely fact. Yeah,
that's definitely fact.
That's great. Well,
okay,
there it is. Firsthand. That's not even a secondhand story. That's firsthand information we have there from Matt.
I mean, here at Facta Freestyle, Joe, I mean, this is kind of a special episode because it's kind of like the final verdict. I mean, that's what we have to come to, because we've got both. I mean, Hoffman, Vic. I mean, and yeah, like, okay, maybe you're in denial, but maybe not. Maybe it didn't really happen. But we want to know from Joe Johnson how the relationship has been with ants over the years. Was it just a one-time event, or was it just like a constant, thing that you used?
I probably did have ants in my pants at the time, but I don't know if there was probably ants in my pants for sure. I'm gonna say yes, they were in there, but I don't know if that made me do the tail whip or not. But it couldn't have hurt. I wouldn't think that's gonna hurt it, throwing the ants in the pants. So I'm gonna say fact, I guess. Yeah,
it's fact.
This is known as the 3-dog defense. By the way,
what is a 3-dog defense? How does that go?
The 3-dog defense is your dog bit me. I don't even have a dog.
Yeah.
You do have a dog. Here's evidence that you have a dog. Well, if I have a dog, he didn't bite you. Here's the bite mark. Here's the video. Well, if I had a dog and he bit you, you're okay.
I mean, I could see that. I kind of follow that story. Yeah. And I can see a lot of hand waving will get someone a little off the mark. I love it. Yeah.